work during the bye week? I wish that worked for everybody. All right, I just want to talk about a couple things, and then I'll take any questions. The first thing, injury-wise, unfortunately, we've gotten some more bad news. Colby Arenzi will be lost for the season with a foot injury that's going to require surgery. That surgery will take place sometime early next week. And this is unfortunate. It's an unfortunate part of our game, but this is, again, it's heartbreaking that you lose such a key guy, an important leader. Take his production out of it. I mean, he has bought in to everything that we're trying to do here, and my heart breaks for him. And frankly, it hurts us as a football team because the guy was playing really, really well. And now, as we're at the halfway point, we look back at the two guys that have had season-ending injuries, and they're both great people, and that's part of why you hurt so bad for them, is that you never want to see this happen. But in these two particular cases, these are just great kids. So we're heartbroken for him and his family. I spoke to him last night over the phone when we got the news, and then I spoke to his mother on the phone this morning. And we'll do everything we can to support him here as he goes through the surgery and the rehab. On some good news, and I guess as it relates to the tight end position, Jeffers is practicing again, and hopefully we can get him back for the Boise game. I don't know if there's a guarantee there, but this is going to be a big week for him in terms of how healthy can we get him, and will he be able to play and help fill the void that the loss of Arenzi is going to leave. We're at the halfway point. Our bye happens to come here. It's at the halfway point of the season, but we've actually been doing football now for almost 9 weeks. It's time to sit back and kind of take stock of where we're at. And where we're at the break right now is very simple. We're a 500 football team. That's what we are. That's what we deserve to be. You can say, well, we could have done this, we could have done that. We didn't. We're 3-3, and that's who we are. I do think it's worth mentioning that over the last 3 weeks, the Hawaii game with the loss of Cody, the Air Force game, and then the game the other night at San Diego State, we have showed resolve. We have shown character as a team, and for that they deserve credit, and I appreciate that. While saying that, there is no doubt that we have hurt ourselves. We have hurt ourselves with poor coaching. We have hurt ourselves with poor play. And while I appreciate the character that we've shown, it'd be nice not to put ourselves in positions where we had to show that character. We need to do better. It starts with me. I need to do a better job. And when you have a little bit of time in a bye week, you take a long, hard look at yourself. And it starts with me. I need to do a better job in all facets of the program. Our coaches need to do a better job, both in terms of what we're demanding of the players and also in terms of, the X's and O's decisions that we make. I mean, nobody's ever going to call a perfect game, but there are things that we can look back on in the first 6 weeks and say, you know what, we need to do better. We need to put them in a better position. And frankly, and I don't know why this ruffles people the wrong way, but our players need to play better. We are all held accountable. I don't know why the thought of saying, hey, we need to play better is throwing people under the bus. It's not. We are a 500 football team for a reason. I need to coach better, the coaches need to coach better, and frankly, the players need to play better. And that's our job, is to help them do that. And we're dedicated to that. But we are all accountable, not just me and the coaches. It's the coaches, it's me, it's the players, it's the support staff, it's everybody. We are all accountable because we're all in this together. So I don't think there's anything wrong with saying at certain spots we need to frankly just play better, and that we're going to continue to work on that and continue to improve. So the bye week's a pretty unique deal. You got a bunch of things. You say, all right, well, it's a week off. Well, we have a lot of things that we need to get accomplished in the bye week. The first one is the players that we know what we're going to get from them. We know we can count on them. We need to get those guys some rest. I use guys like John McNeil, Joel Bitonio, Cody, Arenzi would have been one of those guys. Wimberly. We know what we're going to get from those guys. Are they going to practice some this week? Absolutely, because we can all continue to get better. But ultimately, does Joel Bitonio need to go headbutt somebody for 3 days this week? No. Joel's played 200 and some plays in the last 2 weeks. Joel needs to get healthy and rested. Wim, we need to get our guys that have played a ton of plays, we need to get their legs back underneath them, because being worn out at the end of the year is not going to do us any good. So those guys that have played a ton of plays that we know who they are, they're going to practice, but we're also going to go out of our way to try and get their legs back a little bit. In practice now this week, we don't have an opponent waiting for us on Saturday. We are going to do some Boise State stuff, but we also, looking at the film, we need to tackle better. We need to block better. We need to throw and catch better. So this is a great opportunity to not have to focus solely on a game plan, and we can work on trying to be better in the fundamentals, because we said going into the San Diego State game it was going to be a fundamental week. It was going to be not about game plans. It was going to be about blocking and tackling and keeping our eye discipline and doing all those little things, and we didn't do enough of those things to win, and the film bears that out. So we need to continue to work on fundamental football while we have the break. We need to, as a coaching staff, look at ourselves critically in terms of a self-scout. What are we doing well? What are we not doing well? What tendencies are we showing our opponents? And we need to address those. I think specifically the run game. We have shown that we're dedicated to try to run the ball. The numbers bear that out. We've run it far more than we've thrown it, but we're only getting 3.8 a carry. Why is that? What concepts have been good for us and what concepts have been bad for us? Why? What can we do better defensively on critical third downs? Why are the reasons that we're not getting off the field at a higher clip than we are? Those are the questions that we cannot save for the end of the year. We need to answer those right now, so that as we move forward through the second 6 games of the year, we can do a better job. We need to get a jump start on Boise. It's a really high-quality opponent. It's a road game. We'll do some Boise State in today and tomorrow's practices. We have periods dedicated to working on some of their base stuff, because it would be not good form for us to waste a chance to get a jump start on a really quality opponent. And frankly, we need to get going on recruiting towards the end of the week. And I don't know. I made some comments yesterday at the coaches luncheon, and I don't retract any of them, but I think some of them may have been taken not necessarily out of context, but people don't, I guess, understand what standard operating procedure is. So I say something and eyebrows go up. It's recruiting. I don't want to give people the impression that I'm so unhappy with our team right now that I'm dropping everything and I'm focusing on recruiting. Everybody recruits during the season. It's standard operating procedure. When you have a bye week, you better be out recruiting. If you're not, you're losing to the people that you're recruiting against. We have to be out and be seen. This class that we're going to sign in February is going to be at least 22, maybe 23, 24. You can't do that from December 1st to February 5th. It's got to be done. It's a nonstop process. So while we have a chance to be out on a Thursday, Friday, and for me, I'm going to be out on a Saturday, we have to do that. So I don't want that to sound like it's earth-shattering, like, oh my God, they're bagging the season and he's going to recruit. No. We're recruiting because that's what we're supposed to do during the bye week. I made the comment yesterday in the coaches' luncheon that we're going to turn this roster over by a third. I wasn't saying that to be a hard guy or that it was a threat, that I'm so unhappy I'm just going to start firing guys. We have 76 players on scholarship right now. So that's 9 less than the 85 that you're allowed to have. For whatever reason, we have 76 on scholarship right now. We're going to graduate 13 seniors. We're going to have 22 to give. I'm not firing people. 22 is nearly 1/3 of 75. I mean, we're going to turn this roster over by a third, and it's going to happen organically. Not because I'm so upset by the fact that we're 3-3 at the bye. It's going to happen organically. And so I think I made that statement yesterday, and I think it may have been misconstrued by, wow, he's gonna fire a third of this team. No. I mean, we're going to sign 22, and it's going to be nearly a third of what we have right now. And it is what it is. So that's why recruiting's so important. This roster is going to change over significantly. And that's why recruiting can't wait until December 1st. It's got to be happening now and during the bye week. So that's my fault. Maybe I didn't articulate myself clearly enough, but it's a third of this team's going to change because that's how it works out. I made the statement yesterday that we inherited some issues, and I stand by that statement. But it wasn't the general overall sweeping use of the word issues. I pointed to two things specifically, two situations specifically that, I'm not looking to, I'm not making excuses. Let me be clear about that. And I am not looking to place blame on anybody, but I'm simply stating facts. And to ignore those facts would be to look at this where we're at right now through rose-colored glasses. What I'm about to tell you is fact, and I'm not judging it, but it's what I inherited, and it has to be addressed, and we're addressing it right now. And that's, first of all, on last year's offensive line, we lost 3 starters due to graduation. Well, we also lost, between the time I arrived and the time we got here, we lost 3 more offensive linemen in the depth for whatever reasons. I mean, the reasons aren't important. The fact of the matter is that when we got to UCLA, not only had we lost 3 starters, we had lost 3 more in the depth. And that created offensive line issues. We have depth issues on the offensive line. We moved a defensive tackle to guard to help address those issues. Clearly, it wasn't in great shape. So I have to address those issues right now in recruiting. That's what led to the JUCO conversation. If we sign multiple offensive linemen in this class, which we will, we might have to take 1 or 2 junior college prospects because we're going to need some bodies that are more ready to play than maybe a high school senior would be. It's just the fact. The facts are the facts. We lost some serious depth at that position, and it needs to be addressed or we're going to struggle. And that's a comment that I made yesterday, and it's a fact, and I stand by it. The other issue that I referred to that we inherited was the imbalance between defense and offense in the scholarship situation. And again, I'm not placing blame. I'm not judging. It was not my model, and I'm trying to get it fixed. When you have 10 more players on offense on scholarship than you have on defense, that's not the way we think is best to move forward. And it's still not solved. We tried to solve it in one recruiting class, but as we sit here today with 76 players on scholarship, we have 40 on offense, 34 on defense, and 2 specialists. And that's inequitable. I mean, how do we build on defense when we're not investing the money there? I mean, if you look at it from the perspective of a salary cap, you're going to get your most success where you invest your money. We were short investing on defense. We've made up a little ground, but we need to continue to get it back to what ultimately I would hope would be, 41 on offense because you'd like to carry an extra quarterback, 40 on defense, and 4 specialists. That's the model. Can it waver by 1 or 2? Sure. But right now it's imbalanced, and we need to get that fixed. So those were some of the issues that I was referring to. If people thought that I was painting this thing with a very general brush and, boy, we inherited a thing that's a total mess, I've said repeatedly, I understand how lucky we are to have this opportunity to be a place that has a history and a tradition of winning. And the bottom line is there is no perfect job. Every job's got issues. Ohio State's got issues. Notre Dame's got issues. Texas has issues. It doesn't matter where you're at. These are the issues that were specific to us when we inherited the program. These are the things that I'm trying to get fixed. And I'm not trying to ruffle feathers, but if I did, I apologize. But I'm just being honest. And that's where this thing is at right now. So with that being said, I will take any questions.
When you look at the team position by position, are there certain positions that have kind of performed well today and others that are holding you guys back?
Yeah, again, I won't say anything to you guys that I haven't said to the team. We need to get more production out of our pass rush. I think that's obvious. I've been pleased. We need to do a better job of tackling in the back end. There's no doubt about that. And trying to find the right combination of personnel between safety and corner has been a struggle. And frankly, trying to get some personnel pieces to fit into what is a new system has been a little bit of a struggle in terms of, who do you play at outside linebacker, because the requirements for that job are a little bit different than what they used to be in the previous system. So that's been part of the challenge. I've been pleased. We have a freshman kicker that has handled himself quite well. I think the wide receiver position has played pretty well. I've been pleased with the play of Joe Batonio and Kyle Roberts, and I think our two tackles have played pretty well. I want everybody to be better. That's the thing about what we do. I'm never going to come in here and tell you that, hey, it's perfect. It doesn't need to get better. Cody's played great. Cody needs to play better. We all need to do better. Are there positions where, you'd like to be a little bit more settled? Sure. But I think, at 500, we need to all play better.
Your defense obviously very young, one of the youngest in the country. The starters. Have you seen, you would expect improvement each game given that youth. Have you seen that improvement each game, or is that not happening?
No, I have seen improvement by individuals. But it seems like every once in a while we'll take two steps, take a step forward and take two steps back. That's been a little bit, consistency's been a little bit frustrating. And I'll be very honest, and I said this yesterday as well, I don't think I really understood how young we were on defense till I really sat down and looked at it yesterday. We're playing a lot of sophomores, and they're sophomores that didn't necessarily play a ton last year. I think about Brian Lane, I think about Rakeem Yates. Lenny Jones played a lot last year, but, Bryson Keaton, the corners, these guys were active, but a lot of their reps were coming on special teams. So while they have game experience, they don't have a ton of game experience playing, and I might be mistaken. And if I am, I apologize. If it turns out Brian Lane started 9 games, again, I haven't watched a ton of that film. I just, we are trying to stay patient. At the same time, we're not going to waver in terms of the level of expectations, in terms of attention to detail, and level of consistent effort, and that's what we need to improve upon. So, I can live with young guy mistakes. They're not great, but you can look at it and say, all right, well, that's just an experience thing. There are other things that we can't live with and we won't live with. And that's what we've been communicating with the group. So.
That youth and the new team, all that stuff that the coaches have, do you feel like you can get to the point where you're winning games because of your defense?
Well, I think you could say we won the Hawaii game because of our defense, and that's an opponent that put a bunch of points up on Fresno. We played really well in that game. We happened to score 31, but I wouldn't look at that and say it was an offensive masterpiece. We went into the game challenging them on defense and said, you guys are going to have to carry the day today, and they did. Can we get to that point? Yeah, I believe that we can. I also believe that it's a process. The other reason, and you may say, well, Coach, how can you say that? because in the last 2 games we've needed stops to have a chance to win the game, and we've gotten them. So that shows me right there that there's evidence that when we need to make a stop, we can rise up and make a stop. We just need to play at that level more consistently. And our players understand that. I'm not saying anything here that they haven't heard before. So.
You had mentioned yesterday that you didn't still have complete buy-in from all the players. There's been a little resistance. Is that surprising to you?
No, it's not. It's not at all. That happens, transition is hard, and transition is hardest on the players, and people forget that. There are coaches here that did not recruit these guys. There are systems in place that they were not recruited for. So ultimately, it's never going to be 100%, and that is what it is, and what we try to make sure. And I don't want people to get the impression that there's a mutiny going on. There's not. I would venture to guess that 90% of this team is bought into what we're doing 100%. And it's not been insubordination. What it's been is, hey, in this scheme, you can't freelance. You've got to do what we're asking you to do. And too much, we're seeing guys freelancing, and it costs us. And you can be a good citizen and be a good student and make all the weightlifting times and try hard in practice. But buy-in is a 100% thing, and that's, if we tell you to play it this way, you got to play it this way. You just got to trust us. Trust us. It's going to be okay. Just put your faith in us. And there's a handful that you look at and you wonder. That's okay. That's going to be a process as well. It doesn't happen overnight. There are players that have to earn our trust. Well, the coaches have to earn the trust of the players as well. And that's not going to happen overnight. It's a process, and all I can do as the head coach is simply be consistent in terms of what we're going to ask them to do, in terms of trying to do things right all the time in every facet. And if I'm consistent, and if we recognize the guys that are doing it right, and we try to coach the guys that aren't, and we put out the best plan and try and get them prepared for every game to succeed and win, then if we do that, then eventually we'll earn everybody's trust. And the ones that may not say, this just isn't for me, in a year may decide that, I may need to go somewhere else. And that's okay too. It's not the end of the world. I mean, it's not for everybody. So.
Is Colby set to graduate?
Yes, he is. To my knowledge, he will graduate in December. And for what it's worth, we will try to get the year back, but it would be a long shot at best. I understand that. But we will, because he wants us to try, we will try.
Do you see him playing beyond this level?
I sure think he deserves a shot. And there's no doubt that one of the heartbreaking things about this situation is that this is a foot injury is a difficult deal. The rehab's not going to be a 3-month rehab. So, to say that he might be ready, it would be a guess to say, boy, he's going to be fully healthy for Pro Day. So we're going to try as a program, and me personally, to do everything we can to get people to take a long, hard look at him and maybe give him a shot to play beyond college. And it might have to be a non-traditional route. It might have to be, can we get him placed in the Canadian? Will somebody in the Canadian Football League take a look at him and just get some film, of him playing professional football? We might have to take a non-traditional route, but I think so highly of the young man, and that's his dream. We'll do everything we can to help him along.
Can you say what the injury is?
I don't have all the facts yet, so I don't want to speak out of turn until I just got a prognosis last night.
And just to be clear, Jeffers, you think he will be able to play next week?
I think there's a chance that Jeffers could play next week, and that would go a long way to help filling the void that the loss of Colby's going to, so.
What was his injury?
A foot injury as well, similar but not as dramatic as Colby's.
I would say your offensive line has maybe not been, above average, but the offense has still been very productive when Cody's been in there. I mean, how much more area for growth exists within this offense?
Growth in terms of can we play better, or growth in terms of, Yeah, I think there's no doubt in my mind that we can continue to grow. We need to run the ball better. I believe that in my core. 3.8 a carry is not good enough. The reasons why are not for discussion here. That's why we do the self-scout. We know what we need to do better. If you looked at the offense in a grand scope of things, are we being productive? I think we're averaging 30 points a game. I think overall we are protecting the ball fairly well. Not great, but not awful either. Could we be more productive on offense? There's no doubt in my mind. I think if you talk to any player, they'd recognize the same fact that we need to run the ball better and that we have left a lot of plays out on the field that we can make. Am I pleased? Yeah, we're doing a decent job, but we can get better. There's no doubt in my mind.
I'm surprised you guys have been so productive when Cody's been in there without the ability to really run the right.
We have run it enough to keep people honest. 3.8 is not great, but it's not 2.1 either. And there were chunk plays the other night in the game. There were 12, 18-yard runs. We have run it well enough, and we're going to continue to develop the run game. And to be honest with you, Cody being nicked didn't necessarily help the running game either, because in our system, the threat of the quarterback as a runner is a big deal. I mean, you look back on the last couple of years, a lot of those huge chunk plays are him pulling it and going. Now that he's healthy and feeling more like himself, that should help the running game as well. But we are by no stretch of the imagination. While I am pleased that we have been effective in the passing game, and we have been, I think our wide receivers have been productive. I think our quarterback has made good decisions. I think we've protected him fairly well. While I am pleased that we have been productive in the passing game, we are still dedicated to running the ball, and we'll continue to work on that and try to get better.
Coach, the timing of the bye week with the season and rival horizon, do you like where this is falling?
I would, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I sit here and judge it because I have no control over it one way or the other. I mean, I would have liked to have the bye week when the quarterback was hurt. That would have been nice, but it is what it is. It does come at a time where we're literally at the halfway point, and when we look at ourselves through self-scout and when we look at other things critically, we do have enough data now where it's a legitimate look at it, as opposed to maybe playing 2 games and then you get a bye and you say, who are we? Well, it's really hard to tell. We don't have that big a body of work. I think we do have a decent body of work, and I do think physically it comes at a good time for us because, the last 2 games have been long games that have come all the way down to the end, that have been battles, and I do think everybody getting a chance to catch their breath, including the coaches, is a good thing. I mean, the single best thing about the bye week was on Saturday. I got to play catch with my 4-year-old son in the front lawn in the front lawn of my house, and that I got to see my 14-month-old daughter waddle down the hall. I mean, I saw her take her first steps, and I didn't see very many between it until Saturday. So I think for everybody involved, it comes at a time where we needed to catch our breath, take a day to decompress. We'll work this week. We'll be off Saturday. The players will be off Friday afternoon, Saturday, and Sunday. As coaches, everybody will be off Saturday. I'm going to sneak off to a game here locally, but and then when we come back, okay, recharge your batteries and let's get refocused on the last 6 games of the season, because there are goals that are still out there in front of us, and we're going to go chase them. So.
Can you talk about Brandon Burley a little bit, just what he meant to the team? That's a great.
He's had a great first half. I think everybody can look at the game film and say, boy, Brandon Wimberly's valuable because he makes plays. What you don't see about Wim, and Wim's not necessarily a vocal leader. I mean, he's kind of in a unique situation. He's older than probably 75% of the team, especially as young as we are. So he's not going to be that rah-rah guy, but he is a guy that when things haven't been right, he's addressed it. When things needed to be brought to our attention, he's got no problem walking into my office and saying, hey, Coach, can we think about X, Y, or Z? And frankly, the thing I think he does best that I hope our team recognizes, that we have pointed out multiple times, there's not a guy on this team that prepares better to play than he does. He watches film on his own. He takes great notes. He's always got his game book with him. He knows how to watch tape. He's not watching it as a fan. He's watching concepts and the guys he's going to play against, and he has taken coaching really well. I mean, you can see it in the last couple of weeks. We throw the ball to him in the perimeter in the screen game, and he's trying to make people miss early in the year, and we say, Wim, that's not your game. Your game is to be that big, punishing, physical receiver that they don't want to tackle. You look at the last 3 weeks, we throw the guy the ball in the perimeter, he is running people over. They don't want to tackle him. So it's clear there's evidence the guy's taking coaching, and so, he means a lot to us, and hopefully we can send him out of here these last 6 weeks in the way he deserves to go out. So appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Questions for Brock? Brock, what do you think about the timing of the bye? It's coming at a good time for you?
Yeah, it is. I mean, we're at the halfway point of our season. We're kind of at a crossroads with kind of what we're doing, and we need to figure things out this week, and I think it'll be a good opportunity for us.
Especially after the last game. It's pretty long. Good time for you guys to catch your breath, cool up a little bit, and then two biggest rivals coming up next.
Yeah, and it'll be good to prepare for them this week, and we got to tune some things up. Obviously, we got to get some guys healthy, some guys get their legs back, and like I said, this bye week will be a good opportunity for us to do that.
Can you pinpoint what's been the problem on the running defense so far? Is there any one thing you can look at, or?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's just kind of a group thing. You watch the film, and it's like, okay, well, this play only one guy messed up. Well, the next play, a different guy only messed up. One person may mess up, 1-2 times a game, but collectively as a group that adds up. And, that's kind of what's been happening with us. I mean, we're young, we understand that, but, we're just kind of at that point where everyone needs to step up. There's no excuse if you're, a freshman or a sophomore, like, we need you. And this is going to be the week that we need to find the guys to step up.
What are your plans this weekend? You get Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. You gonna try to get away from football a little bit?
Yeah, I'm actually going to head back home, watch my little brother play on Friday.
What have you thought of the front court's ability to rush the passer this season?
I feel like we're hit and miss. Sometimes we'll come out and we'll be firing, like during the Hawaii game. And then others, we don't communicate as well. And that's something that we're going to focus on this week, is having a better game plan going into things. Last game, we were kind of confused on who was making what as far as who's calling the line stunts, because we have the ability to call our own. And we were kind of confused on things, and we all weren't, kind of firing at the same pace. And so coming with a solid game plan for Boise and developing that over the week is going to be our main goal.
How much did you kind of look ahead to the Boise State game during this week, or do you just try to stick with the fundamentals and what the coaches are talking to you about?
I look forward to the game. Boise is probably what I look forward to most every year, so I'm going to be focusing on that a lot this week. But we really need to focus on our fundamentals this week, and we need to, come together collectively as a defense and really just kind of get on the same page with everything and kind of figure everything out. I mean, like Coach said, we're at a crossroads right now, and we need to figure ourselves and our identity out now.
You guys have a pretty young defense overall. I mean, is it kind of frustrating kind of doing the balance between, not getting upset with the guys because they're young and they're learning versus, wanting to be as productive as possible now?
I think we're at the point where feelings aren't anyone's concern. We need people to play, and so if we have to get upset with people, we have to get upset. We just need productivity out of the defense now.
Are there any positives you can take away from the U State game, like you said?
Sure. I mean, there was a handful of guys that I saw busting their tail out there and diving. John McNeil had a great game. But it's more of, I guess in a positive way you could look at it is we found the areas that we need to work on, and we have a bye week now, so we have the chance to work on that. So I'd say that's what the main positive is.
And what does it say about your team that you guys fought back, 22 points deficit, almost winning it?
It's like I said, we have the ability, but it's keeping the consistency throughout the game, that high energy that we had, that we knew we were down and we had to come back, or the time that the defense needed to make a stop, because we've never been able to make the stops. But it's the consistency that we need to work on, and firing earlier in the game rather than later.
It's a new scheme for you guys. Now that you've played some games under, just what are your general thoughts on playing the campus to extra base?
Found out there's a lot more pressure on us to get to the quarterback. But overall, I like it, and like I said, that's what I like to do. It's just, getting the group together and kind of working all as one and instead of individuals. Because as a defensive line, I feel like during the game, if things aren't happening, we get frustrated, and people kind of take it into their own hands. Well, if I do this, then I'll be okay, and I might make the play. But as a whole, that ends up hurting us. So it's just all about trusting your buddies and playing for your brothers, and firing all as one instead of trying to make the play by yourself.
Brock, is one of the biggest leaders on the defense. What are kind of the biggest positives you guys have in this bye week stretch?
One, we're going into Boise, so everyone's pumped up about that. But I'd say we know our potential, and we're confident in what we can do. It's working on what we need to do, and when you're working for a goal, all together as a group, things kind of work better as a defense. So, I don't know. I think we're going to have a lot of energy this week. I'm hoping for as many full padded practices as possible, so it'll be good.
All right, anybody else?
Thank you.
Question for Cody?
Cody, you just talked a bit about the loss of Colby, I guess personally, and also what it means to the team.
Being around the pistol offense, I know how valuable the tight end is. I believe it's probably the second most valuable spot in the pistol offense. And to lose a guy like Colby Renzi, who's played a lot of games and understands the system and what we want to do, it's going to hurt our offense, but it's just going to give another guy a chance to step up. And we've proved that over this season, that guys are going to step up and make some plays. Gip and Randy have done a great job coming in on a short notice, so it's good that we got a bye week now for those guys to really understand and be like, hey, I'm the number one guy now, and I got to get into film and see what we're doing. So, obviously losing Colby, he was as good as a blocker as he was a catcher. So, that's going to hurt our offense, but we're going to have to move on, and, I wish for a speedy recovery for him.
What do you think about the timing of the bye? You like that it's almost right now, middle of the season, before
I think, it's a good bye for us just to kind of regroup and come together and just we got to get better, obviously, and that's the biggest thing is use this week to get better, focus on ourselves. Obviously watch the film on Boise, but we need to focus on ourselves more. And I think it was a great time for this bye so we can, prepare for one of the biggest conference games of, this season, obviously playing Boise at Boise. And this is going to be the first time I've played on the blue turf. So, I'm really excited about that and obviously going to get in the film. But I think we just, as offense and defense, as a whole team, we just need to get better this week and then focus on Boise.
You guys have made some mistakes, obviously, but the fact that in the last game you showed a lot of heart coming back in both of the games. That's got to be a takeaway that the team doesn't get.
Yeah, you definitely got to take away a lot of positives from the last 2 weeks. Offensively, I could speak that, even though we were down by 21 points, we knew we were still in that game and we can still score points. And when you got everyone on the same page like our offense was at the end of that game, you can see what we can do. And obviously putting up 21 points and the defense holding them. So the defense saw us making plays out there, so, it gave them some encouragement to go out there and hey, our offense is in this. We need to help them out. And that's what they did. But, obviously San Diego State made more plays than we did and deserved to win that game. He's been, my safety net, if you want to say that. There's a lot of third down conversions that, he's bodying the DB and making big plays, some slants over the middle. Just a guy who's got a lot of heart and a lot of passion for the game. And I know dropping back, say it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 5, if, everyone's covered, it might be going to Brandon Wimberly because he's going to come down with that ball one way or another. He understands it's his last season, and, he's going to put everything he has forward. And obviously he's shown a great half of the first season so far.
Are you 100% now, or close?
I am 100%. I was actually talking to Chad about my knee brace. I'll probably end up wearing it the rest of the year just because it's a security thing for me. Seeing these guys getting hurt, like Utah State losing their quarterback, I want there to be no reason for me to miss another game this season. So I'll probably, watching the film compared to Air Force and San Diego State, I felt like I was moving a lot faster. They made some tweaks to my knee brace so I didn't have to keep tugging on it, and it fit a lot better. So, just running-wise, I felt like myself, San Diego State. And it's only going to protect me. It's not going to hurt me. So I could see myself wearing it the rest of the season just because it's a security blanket for me.
Put one on the other knee then, too?
I don't know if I'd go that far. But just because this knee's been dinged up, maybe there's a chance for it to get hurt again. I don't know. But I feel 100%, and I feel 100% in the brace. But I just think the smartest move on my part is just to keep myself healthy and give my body no reason to get injured.
What is your message to the team during a 2-week bye after these first 6 weeks?
Not to settle or give up, obviously. We want it to be a marathon season, not a sprint. We lost the game, obviously, and we don't want it to bring down our whole season. I know last year we ended up losing to San Diego State, and we lost three in a row, maybe 4 in a row. So we got to prevent that from happening again. We got a good Boise team coming up. Just basically get better this week. We need to get better as a unit and then focus on Boise. As much film as you're going to watch on Boise in 2 weeks is going to help us. But I think this week, as far as practice goes, we need to focus on ourselves. But in the film, get a lot of film work on Boise, and then obviously next week get geared up and ready to go.
I think Joel is one of maybe 2 or 3 guys who have been on the field for all 209 plays these last 2 weeks. Has he come back into the huddle or whatever kind of huddle you guys have and looked tired, sounded tired, I need a break?
Not at all. Joel is a beast. He is by far the best left tackle I've ever played with or I've ever known. He's probably the best left tackle in the nation, I believe. Just watching him on film, seeing inspirational plays like when he ran down that guy on the fumble, it means a lot to him. And so when you see a guy giving everything he's got like he has so far this season, it makes me want to give more, and hopefully it makes other guys want to give more. So, he's an inspirational leader. Sometimes he doesn't always do it by word of mouth, but obviously if you put on the film and you just watch him bury guys and play after play after play, and we're on our 105th play and he's still burying guys, that, it hasn't affected him. He's in great shape, and he's a big guy who can move, obviously. And so, obviously we need more of that, and we need more guys to feed off that energy. He can catch the ball pretty well, and you guys saw that against San Diego State. There were some tough passes that he came down with. He was bobbling it to the ground, getting hit, and he came down with it. So, he's a reliable tight end for us. He's learning the system. He's still young, obviously, but he's been bounced back from wide receiver to tight end, and he's just accepted the role. Any way he can help, he's helped us. And so, I'm really excited for him to get out on the field, and, this is his chance. And I know Colby's going to help him as much as he can, and he's going to be like an extra tight ends coach, Colby. So, obviously, I got a lot of confidence in Jared after, what he displayed against San Diego State, and, I'm excited for him. I think it's the scheme of me not being able to run these past 2 weeks. As far as, last week I felt more confident in my running ability. I feel like come Boise, we're going to have the complete pistol back. We are kind of limited in what we were running, and so I think that number should jump up, obviously, now that we'll have two threats as myself and the running back in the game plan.
Cody, when you're throwing for more than 50 times a game, like against Air Force and against DSU, I mean, do you feel like you guys are like going up and down the field like pretty easily? Like, do you want like it always to be like a shootout every single time?
Honestly, I never thought I would throw 50 passes ever in my career, and to do it the past 2 games and to be over 300 yards, it's pretty special to me, and I know it helps the offensive line knowing that, I can drop back and we can throw the ball and we can move the ball still even if our run game isn't working. But we got to get our run game going in order for our pass game to continue to be successful. Obviously, a lot of people know that our run game is good, and so maybe they overlook our pass game. So if they start keying in on our pass game, we better start running the ball pretty efficiently and start moving the ball and moving the chains by running it rather than dropping back every play.